Welcome to Happy Headlines, brought to you by the Good News Network, who was started by Jerry Weis-Corbley. Now you can see Jerry here holding her #1 selling book on Amazon in journalism. It's called A Quote, and now the good news, unquote. Jerry has been an inspiration to me and many others, and I just would love to give back to the community. And this is how I give back to the community, by spreading the good news. Jerry also has the Good News Podcast with her co-host Anthony and Jerry as the host. If you are in the mood for some positive news, silver linings, and hashtag Corona kindness, this is what you need most. On iTunes, you can subscribe, and on Android, on Podbean. Happy Headlines, and today's quote is brought to you by Henry Adams. All experience is an arc to build upon. All experience is an arc to build upon. The Good News Network has brought to you Good News in History, October 7th. Happy Headline from Chico Chad. Now let me tell you here, 100 years ago today, the University of Oxford, England, allowed women to become full members and study for 4 degrees for the first time, and the first 40 women were admitted. Prior to that date, women could not attend Oxford lectures, take exams, but could not matriculate or graduate. Happy Headline from Chico Chad. And on this Good News in History, October 7th, 100 years ago today, the University of Oxford allowed women to become full members and study for 4 degrees for the first time. And the first 40 women were admitted. Prior to that date, women could attend Oxford lectures and take exams, but could not graduate. With the passage of the new statute, women who were already attending classes and earned honors on exams were allowed to be formally admitted and receive their degree based on their past performance. 1920. More good news from this date. The Stamp Act Congress conveyed in New York and drew up colonial grievances against England. The U.S. and British governments announced the establishment of the United Nations, the intergovernmental organization that won a Nobel Peace Prize in 2001 for sending peacekeeping troops into conflict areas like East Timor. American poet Allen Ginsberg performed his poem Howl for the first time at the Sixth Gallery in San Francisco. New York Metropolitan Opera hired its first black performer, singer Marian Anderson, 1954. President John F. Kennedy signed the Partial Test Ban Treaty with Britain and the Soviet Union, prohibiting all test detonations of nuclear weapons except underground. Cats, the musical, opened on Broadway, beginning its record run of 7,485 performances in 1982. Also on this day in history, in 1968, the Motion Picture Association of America announced new voluntary Hollywood rating system for giving advance warnings to parents so they can make decisions about which films might be appropriate for their children. The 4 MPAA ratings included G for general audiences of all ages, M for mature audiences, R for restricted under the age of 16 unless occupied by an adult, and X, which is the National Association Theater Owners Lobby for the order to protect itself against lawsuits. Happy 89th birthday to Desmond Tutu, the Archbishop of Cape Town, who received the 1984 Nobel Peace Prize for his efforts in South Africa to end apartheid, including the leadership and Vital Truth and Reconciliation Commission. As a member of the elders, he still campaigns for human rights against HIV and AIDS, tuberculosis, poverty, racism, sexism, homophobia, and transphobia. He recently co-authored a book with Dalai Lama called The Book of Joy, Lasting Happiness in a Changing World. On his 61st birthday, to the brilliant soloist Yo-Yo Ma, who was born in France, the Chinese-American musician was a child prodigy, performing from the age of 5 when his mother and singer and father, a violinist, moved to New York City. His 90-plus albums have received 18 Grammy Awards, and his kindness follows him around the world on tour after tour. His fascination with other cultures and the ways that their music can be blended together resulted in a non-profit Silk Road project. Ongoing since 1998, it is described as the arts and educational organization that connects musicians, composers, artists, and audiences around the world. Here you can watch a clip of Yo-Yo on Silk Road as he talks about it. Happy headlines brought to you by the Good News Network. Irish Prime Minister re-registers as medical practitioner so he can join the COVID-19 response team. Citizens and news outlets around the world are praising Irish Prime Minister Leo Varadkar as he re-registering as a doctor with the National Health Service in order to offer an extra hand in fighting the novel coronavirus outbreaks. Thank you, Leo Varadkar. Prior to going into politics and being removed from the medical register in 2013, Varadkar reportedly spent 7 years working as a junior doctor in the St. James Hospital and Conley Hospital in Dublin. Trained as a general practitioner, Varadkar rejoined his medical registry in March so he could offer up his services to the country's health service executive once a week. Man, that is amazing. Give a hand to him. All right. Many of his family and friends are working in the health service. He wanted to help out even in a small way, said the government spokesperson. That is amazing. Take a look at him there. Thank you for your dedication. Thank you. Here we have another happy headline. This veterinarian has spent 9 years wandering the California coast, treating homeless people's pets for free. Look at that. Look at that. The compassionate veterinarian specialist has spent the last 9 years treating homeless people's pets across California. Dr. Kawain Stewart first started his labor of love back in 2011 when he was left heartbroken by the amount of animals being surrendered to his pet clinic during the recession. As more and more people lost their homes, more and more pet owners opt to turning their furry companions over to the shelter or vet that allowed them to be homeless. Stewart then brought the veterinarian supplies to the soup kitchen event so he could treat some of the homeless pets around Modesto, California. About 25% of our homeless population own a pet, and I knew that if I could set up a table at a soup kitchen, I could help a small group of animals. Stewart told GoFundMe, so that's what I did. I called over anyone who was holding their pet and I told them I'll take a look and vaccinate and treat their pet if I could. Upon successfully treating 15 animals in a single day, Stewart knew he had found his purpose. Thank you, Stewart! He has since devoted his spare time to wandering through the alleyways and city streets up and down the West Coast so he could treat homeless people's pets. And he has helped and healed more than 400 animals. You can see him here as he's helping people out with their animal. The dog looks so intrigued and happy. He's like, man, someone's helping me. I can't believe it. I love it. What do you think about this? Leave the comments below and tell me what you think about some of these stories that you hear. Do they touch your heart? Do you want to reach out and help people? More happy headlines brought to you by Chico Chad. Family has driven 5,000 people to the hospital for free in their motorcycle ambulance. Some rural Indian village are miles and miles away from the nearest hospital, and that's why this devoted man has taken it upon himself to run his very own free ambulance service. During the last 19 years, Karmol Haki has brought more than 5,000 people to the hospital using his makeshift motorcycle-powered ambulance. Haki was the first inspired to launch his mission of service after he was left grief-stricken by the death of his mother almost 2 decades ago. He then vowed not to let any other mothers in the region suffer from the lack of medical treatment or access to health care. Since Haki first began his labor of love, his entire family has joined his mission by volunteering their own time and services. There you can see him taking somebody to the hospital in his makeshift ambulance. That is amazing. Thank you so much, Haki, for being such a great inspiration to people, to your family, because you have really touched my heart today. Happy headlines brought to you by Chico Chad. Greek athlete carries disabled woman from up Mount Olympus, fulfilling her lifelong dream. Greek mythology is filled with tales of heroic strength, perhaps most famously Atlas, who single-handedly held the heavens aloft. In a singletary, uplifting modern-day version of Atlas come to life, one courageous athlete recently climbed Mount Olympus, home of the ancient gods, carrying a disabled comrade to the summit with him, piggyback style. Long-distance runner Marios Giniko has a long track record of taking on challenges. He trekked 168 miles across the Almoran Desert. He also took the first place in the frigid 93-mile cross-country race in Antarctica. Prior to his latest endeavor, he already successfully taken in the view from atop of Mount Olympus, highest peak 50 times. When Ginako met and befriended 22-year-old biology student Elefren Tassal and learned of her dream to experience the summit herself, it seemed only natural that he was more than ready to arise to the occasion. For me, all international races, the medals, the distinctions so far mean little compared to that goal. Look at that. He is carrying her up to Mount Olympus. She looks so happy. My God, this is beautiful. This is beautiful, people. When Tasu securely harnessed in a specially modified backpack, Giniko's, along with an 8-member support team, started the grueling ascent of Olympus' tallest peak, Mount Makatas. Unbelievable. When they reached 2,400 meters, the party stopped to rest. After making camp for the night, they resumed their climb at 6 a.m. the following morning. 3 hours later, 9:02 local time, having put in more than 10 hours climbing all together, the Triumph pair reached a 2,918 meter summit. There's nothing more real than the dream, Giniko posted to his Instagram. It is heartening to know that while we generally think of heroes as stuff of myth and legend, there are actually some shining examples like Mario's Ganako, who exist in real life. Mario, we want to give our thanks to you for doing this, because this is courageous, this is brave, this takes strength, this takes willpower, and you have shown it, and this is the true meaning of gratitude, and I love it. Thank you so much, and thank you, Good News Network, for bringing us this story. Scientists create super enzyme that eats plastic bottles 6 times faster than previous enzymes. Enzymes produced in the stomach of certain bacteria found during several high-profile discoveries have been combined by English scientists to create a super enzyme, reducing the time it takes for these chemicals to depolymerize and break down plastic from weeks into mere hours. Look at this. Look at this. A new discovery would have further tripled this speed at which the plastic polymers are undone, providing a serious opportunity to win the fight against plastic pollution in the next few decades, as well as opening the door for scientists to create more synthetic enzymes targeting the specific kind of plastics. The field of organic enzymatic plastic recycling blew up during the second half of the 2010s when Japanese scientists in 2016 discovering a bug that lived in the plastic trash mounds who actually ate the material and disconnected the polymers and polyethylene terephthalate, one of the most common plastic used in making water bottles and clothing. Professor John Mackin from the Center of Enzyme Innovation at the University of Portsmouth would in 2018 create a super version of it, and in his lab completing by accident that sped up the depolymerization time significantly. Thank you, Dr. John McGeehan. You are a great scientist, and we extend our gratitude to you because you have done something great. Cheers to you. More happy headlines brought to you by Chico Chad. The fashion industry has a waste problem. This nonprofit with 2,000 volunteers is helping to solve it. Fabric cutting and textile leftovers are a difficult class of waste to recycle, but in the fashion industry, first, a door-to-door New York City recycling service meant exclusively for textile waste is helping the uglier side of fashion get a green makeover. Fab Scrap runs an internet store and a physical location that's part of a secondhand shop, part recycling facility based around the fashion industry waste collected from top brands like J. Crew, Nautica, and Macy's. Jessica Schreiber, the founder of Fab Scrap, discovered while working in New York City's Bureau of Recycling and Sustainability that many of the city's ironic fashion industry names are ringing her office asking what to do with the textile waste. Being that a New York City law requires that recycling of any material if the amounts are more than 10% commercial waste, she realized the problem represented an unfulfilled niche that would make a great business model. She pitched her idea of Project One Way fashion startup and was awarded seed money for her vision of a company that would pick up textile waste from fashion houses and find ways to reuse it. Accumulating 20 clients in her first year, Schreiber now manages the waste of 434 different brands, and her work has seen 600,000 pounds of textiles and fabric spread from entering New York City's landfill network. And with each pound saved representing around 2.6 pounds of CO2. Look at that. Look at that. Separating the textiles by fiber from cotton and wool and more, the people of Fab Scrap will weigh and document each bag. The organization sells the fabric by the pound on their website and out of their retail headquarters in Brooklyn and ships the unsellable waste to be recycled and turned into stuffing for furniture and insulation for things like moving blankets. Wow, that is awesome. Thank you so much. New York City has very progressive recycling laws on the books for fabric and textiles. However, these laws are difficult to track and enforce since private companies haul away trash and the waste of the building tends to get mixed in together. They figured out a way to use it. Thank you so much. You're awesome. Happy headlines! 10 of the healthiest communities for well-being in America. Colorado nabbed 6 of those. The third annual Healthiest Community Rankings came out last month, which rated all the major factors contributing to the physical and mental health of locations across America. Los Alamos County, New Mexico turned out to be the healthiest community in the U.S., according to extensive research underwritten by the Athena Foundation, which researched by the U.S. News and World Report that examined nearly 3,000 locations across the country on dozens of factors that shape community health and well-being. Los Alamos received the perfect score for measurements including drinking water, quality, affordable housing, availability, park access, and a number of college-educated citizens. Perhaps most notably, Colorado grabbed 6 of the top 10 spots. 3 counties in Colorado ranked in the top 5, including Douglas County 2, Broomfield County 4th, and Root County 5th. Falls Church, Virginia was ranked 3rd most healthy. They all scored above the national average in at least 8 of the 10 categories: education, equity, economy, population health, housing, food and nutrition, public safety, infrastructure, environment, and community vitality. The project serves as a tool to inform residents, community health leaders, and elected officials about policies and best practices for better health outcomes by assessing which communities offer the citizens the greatest opportunity to live in a productive, healthy life. The top 10 healthiest communities overall: Los Alamos County, New Mexico; Douglas County, Colorado; Falls Church, Virginia; Broomfield County, Colorado; Root County, Colorado; Loudoun County, Virginia; Pitkin County, Colorado; Carver County, Minnesota; Summit County, Colorado; San Miguel County, Colorado. Top 5 communities for good health outcomes: San Juan County, Washington; Marion County, California; Carver County, Minnesota; Cedar County, Nebraska; Winnebago County, Iowa. Top 5 communities of healthcare: Olmsted County, Minnesota; Suffolk County, Massachusetts; Johnson County, Iowa; Perry County, Kentucky; and District of Columbia. Honolulu County, Hawaii ranked number 1 for the mental health category, which assessed deaths from suicide, drugs, and alcohol, the rate of depression among Medicare beneficiaries, and the number of poor mental health days per month. Top 5 communities for mental health: Honolulu County, Hawaii; Tripp County, South Dakota; Pembina County, North Dakota; Suiton County, Texas; Hartley County, Texas. Thank you, Good News Network, for giving us this wonderful, happy headline. We really appreciate it. Our gratitude is extended to you. Happy headlines! Americans are crediting the COVID crisis for helping them become more financially responsible. Let me know your take on it. How do you feel about it? Has COVID helped you become better financially responsible? Let Chico Chad know what you think in the comments below, and I will respond. Growing their own vegetables, switching to one-ply toilet paper, eating lots of leftovers. These are just a few ways people are pinching pennies during the COVID-19 pandemic, according to this new survey. Over half the Americans polled credit the COVID-19 pandemic with finally teaching them how to be smart with their money. In fact, a similar survey from 2 years ago shows that a number of U.S. adults who feel very smart with their money has actually risen just from 42% in 2018 to 51% in 2020. Another 2 in 3 participants said the pandemic has turned them into a frugal person. The polls of the 2,000 Americans both conducted by one poll on behalf of Sick Deals, look into how the pandemic has changed people's mindsets about their money and how they define being cheap versus being frugal. The latest survey was meant to mirror the one run in 2018 as a means of comparing just how much of the results have changed over the course of 2 years and a global pandemic. Tipping the minimum 15 to 20% regardless of the service was found to by people in 2020 be cheap. However, skipping to the tip in 2018 and voted to be an act of frugality. Perhaps this can be explained by a shift in gratitude towards frontline workers. Declining to be part of the rounds at the bar was considered cheap by respondents, as was calculating your share of the group bill down to the cent. Other cheap actions, still using very outdated electronics, re-gifting, and diluting soap containers with water. Who does that? Yeah! Let's get that diluted hand soap in there, baby! Woo! Let's just thank everyone who participated in this poll and to giving us information, because I myself have become better at, not spending as much, being a very good consumer. Conversely, purchasing clothes at a secondhand store was found to be frugal, as was buying off-brand food products, buying no-name electronics, and always seeking out deals or coupons when going shopping. Participants are considered tracking their electricity and heating usage at home to keep the utility bills down to be frugal behavior. According to the survey, the average American becomes a frugal person at the age of 31, with 1 in 4 saying they became thriftier than they had when they were even younger. 2 in 3 Americans also said they consider being called frugal a compliment. Yes, give it up for the frugal! Are you frugal? Please comment below and let me know if you're frugal. Happy headlines from Chico Chad. I love seeing young people just, giving to the community. First grader turns her dream of feeding homeless people into a reality by launching her own foundation. Paris Williams is 6 years old. Like many of the first grade peers, she's adorable. But this little girl is also driven by a mission to help others who are less fortunate. So driven, in fact, she's launched her own nonprofit foundation, Paris Cares, to feed the homeless in her area. Paris' mom, and Alicia Marshall, says her daughter's inspiration became a hands-on Good Samaritan was the title character of Kara Chadwick Dill's children's book, One Boy's Magic, who also uses his powers to feed the homeless. She was reading books at school about giving, and she came home one day and said she was like, I want to give back to the homeless. What can we do to help the homeless? Marshall told KTVI, Fox 2 News. We kind of brainstormed with some ideas and we came up with making care packages. I wanted to give something to the homeless, Paris explained. Like the boy in the book, Paris might not have had a magic wand, but she didn't let that stop her. Thank you, Paris, for reaching out and giving a helping hand. Paris wasn't satisfied with the simply donated goods. It was important to her that she forge a bond with people she was trying to help. After fulfilling each package herself, Paris drew a picture and wrote a personal message on each one to create a kind of human connection so many of the homeless sorely lack. It makes me feel proud with everything that's going on in the world. This small child who is entering first grade has such a big heart, Marshall said. She wants to give. She wants to help others. That gratitude is in her. That gratitude is in her. That's something that's in her heart. We all have it. We just have to dig deep, people. We just have to dig deep. Stylish tiny homes are now being 3D printed in 24 hours and shipped to your site. Look at that. A California company is making the act of purchasing a glamorous tiny home with delivery and installation included as simple as going online and tapping a button. Mighty Buildings is able to complete a home in just 24 hours with walls, floors, ceilings because they 3D print them in a warehouse in Oakland. The startup uses a specialized material called thermoset composite that makes them durable, low maintenance, and ultra energy efficient. Customers can choose 3 different sizes, from 1 bedroom, 1 bath unit to a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. Will deliver an installation included in the price. The 350 square foot costs $115,000 installed. Plumbing, electricity, furnishings, doors, and windows are all fitted. Post-installation the old-fashioned way. It is an exciting time in the world of 3D printing. An entire neighborhood of 50 printed houses is being completed in Mexico by Texas company Icon and will benefit low-income residents. I just want to stop right there for a moment. I know that, they need to get paid for their work, but why do we have homeless people if they can 3D print houses? If you want to comment below about that, please comment below and give me your take on it. I need to know what people think about this. Happy headlines. Free internet coming for 35,000 low-income Philly families in public-private partnership as classrooms stay closed. Look at this. Philadelphia wants to ensure that all K-12 students have internet access so they have what they need to learn remotely during the pandemic, especially as the city schools will remain closed to in-person classes this fall. Since the coronavirus forced school closures this spring, the city has been working with foundations and partners to mobilize funding that will provide broadband internet access for 35,000 children. And this week, they unveiled a program that will make it happen. Feel Connected will connect eligible student households with 2 years of high-speed internet without any out-of-pocket expenses and installation fees. Using Comcast Internet Essentials program or high-speed mobile hotspots for families who are housing insecure, the program will also ensure K-12 public school students have the devices they need, such as laptop or tablet, and also tech support to keep it running smoothly. The Philadelphia School District recently distributed over 128,000 devices to students who lack them at home. The school district and charter schools will continue to work with schools and families as they make sure that they have the resources they need to succeed. Philly Connected is in the first stage of the city's larger digital equity initiative to support digital literacy and access for all Philadelphia residents. The bulk of the funding is being provided by private foundations, including $7 million from the Comcast NBC Universal Foundation, $1 million each from the William Penn Foundation and Philadelphia School Partnership, and others. The city will also use $2 million in local CARES Act funding without dipping into the general fund, according to the Philadelphia Inquirer. Thank you to make sure these kids are well educated and keep up. Kids, you have an opportunity right here. Don't let this slip you by. Use this opportunity. Study. Search the internet. Look over stuff more than once. Do your schoolwork. You have an opportunity to succeed. These people care about you. These people care about you, Philly. Philly, rise up! Homeboy wins $2.5 million Hilton Humanitarian Prize on the 25th anniversary of annual award. The gang intervention heroes at Homeboy Industries have just been chosen as winners of the 2020 Humanitarian Prize from the Hilton Foundation and will receive $2.5 million in unrestricted funding. As the world's largest annual humanitarian award, the prize is presented to a nonprofit organization judged to have made extraordinary contributions toward alleviating human suffering Homeboy Industries is a unique place where former gang members are able to experience healing from their violent past within the context of kinship. It is a place of hope where work therapy, mentorship, education, tattoo removal, and many other vital and re-entry services are offered so people can have a second chance at life. Thank you, Homeboy Industries, for stepping up. We used to be the worst enemies on the streets, and now we're family at Homeboy, said one of the Homeboy trainees. Founded in 1988 by Father Gregory Boyle, Homeboy was formed with the goal of improving the lives of former gang members in East Los Angeles. At that time, Boyle was a pastor of the Dolores Mission Church, the most improvised Catholic parish in the city, alongside two of the largest public housing projects in the country. They also had the highest concentration of gang activity in the country. While law enforcement tactics of suppression and criminal justice policy of mass incarceration were in the prevailing means of dealing with gang violence, Boyle saw young people who deserved a chance and worked to change the way the world views them. Today, Homeboy Industries has evolved into the world's largest gang intervention, rehab, and re-entry program, and is dedicated to providing hope, training, and support to individuals, which turn makes a positive impact in those individual families and communities. Their re-entry program focuses on helping participants heal from complex trauma through the delivery of wrap-around social service rooted in the culture of kinship and tenderness. Look at that. People can change. I don't care what you say. I've changed. People grow. People get smarter. People read. People want to change. Thank you for helping these people, Homeboy Industries. Thank you for reaching out. Thank you for sticking out. It means a lot. It really does. Cheers! Happy headlines! Army Ranger Patrick Payne awarded Congressional Medal of Honor for heroism in liberating 75 hostages. The White House presented the Congressional Medal of Honor to Sergeant Major Thomas Patrick Payne this week for heroism and selfless actions that were key to liberating 75 hostages under fire during a rescue mission 5 years ago in Hiawatha, Iraq. The South Carolina youth had originally joined the Army after 9/11, inspired by patriotism and desire to defend the United States. Soon he joined the elite ranks of the legendary Army Rangers. He would endure 14 deployments before the day of October 22, 2015, when his Sergeant First Class Payne, as part of the Joint Task Force assisting Iraq security forces, raided an ISIS prison to liberate 70 hostages after a request by the Kurdistan government. Pat and his fellow Rangers fought through the fire and the bullets. Pat navigated to the front door and saw the captives were being held behind a metal door secured by two heavy padlocks. The building was on fire and partly collapsed. He grabbed part of the bolt cutters, and through the flame and smoke and bullets succeeded in cutting one of the locks before scorching heat forced him to flee the building for some air. Pat caught his breath in a few seconds and ran back in and managed to slice the final lock and release the rest of the hostages as the building began to collapse. He received orders to evacuate, but he refused to do so. Not wanting to leave anyone behind, Pat ran back into the burning building 2 more times. He saved multiple hostages, and he was the last man to leave. Payne, who is currently assigned to the U.S. Army Special Operations Command, received the highest military award from the President on September 11, 2015. Happy headlines! Brought to you by the Good News Network and reported by Chico Chad. It is my pleasure to bring you inspirational news and positive news. I hope you like what I'm doing, and if you like what I'm doing, please leave a comment below. I will reply to the comments. Have a great gratitude day.